Congress continues to take action to reverse the tide of overregulation. The Congressional Review Act does exactly what its title suggests. It gives Congress the authority to review and reverse regulations that have been recently finalized. In its first 20 years on the books, Congress was able to successfully use this authority just once. But since President Trump took office, we have already sent 11 measures to his desk, and the Senate is acting on another one today. Many of these initiatives are designed to protect jobs, especially for America's energy workers. With one bill, we stopped a rule that would have wiped out about 1/3 of the jobs in coal country alone. Combine our actions with the steps that the president has taken to jumpstart pipelines and reverse President Obama's assault on affordable energy. These things will help get people back to work, and after years of sluggish growth, give a real boost to our economy. But with all of these measures, we are doing something very, very fundamental, and that's the point I think is really worth seeing here. For too long, we have had unelected bureaucrats writing our laws. We have been having unelected bureaucrats dictating the rules that we have to live under, and the rest of government just goes along with it. But now we are turning power from Washington back to states and communities and to the elected branch of government. We are giving people more control and more of a say in the decisions that are made in their classrooms, at their businesses, on their lands. This is good progress, and we're going to make more in weeks to come. Phil.
Speaker, under your policy of not responding to all the president's tweets, but this directly involves your conference saying of the Freedom Caucus, we must fight them in 2018. Sounds like he's calling for primaries and fighting. Do you agree with the assessment that you need to fight the Freedom Caucus?
Look, I understand the president's frustration. I share frustration. About 90% of our conference is for this bill to repeal and replace Obamacare, and about 10% are not. And that's not enough to pass a bill. We're close. What I am encouraging our members to do is keep talking with each other until we can get the consensus to pass this bill. But it's very understandable that the president is frustrated that we haven't gotten to where we need to go, because this is something we all said we would do. And so he is just expressing his frustration. You all know that he does that in various forums, including Twitter, and I understand his frustration.
The Senate today is moving forward with their Russia investigation, exposing the real immediate danger that Russia poses to America's democracy, while the House committee seems to be bogged down in politics, focusing more on the president's tweets. Yeah. Is the House committee missing the big picture here?
I want the House committee to have a full and thorough and bipartisan investigation, get everything out there, follow the facts wherever they go, and get to the truth. That's going to take some time, and I'm confident they're going to do that. I think you're right. This has gotten a little political. Let's take a pause, and let's just get all the evidence, all the documents, and find out what happened. And what I'm worried about with Russia is you've got elections coming online in Europe, this year. And so the Russians clearly are trying to meddle in other countries' elections. We have to help our allies prevent that from happening and uncover it. We have to find out what they try to do here. We've got to make sure we get to the bottom of that, and wherever the facts go. But then we also, in my opinion, need to do more to help our allies guard against this invasion into their democracy from Russia. Juan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A number of Republicans I spoke to this week said that you need the $880 billion from Medicaid savings from the health care bill in order to lower the revenue baseline and achieve significant
it's the other way around. It's not the Medicaid. It's the revenue. It's the... You know how this works, Wong. You're a budget guy. Nicholson, you guys...
Do you agree that there is a direct correlation between the Medicaid...
No, there is not a direct correlation. That's not correct. So somebody's misunderstanding how baselines work around here. The Medicaid savings, the spending baseline has nothing to do with tax reform. It's the revenue baseline. It's the Obamacare taxes that themselves affect tax reform. Here's the way the math works. If we repeal the Obamacare taxes, then that is a revenue baseline that we don't have to put into tax reform. If we don't repeal the Obamacare taxes, it is my position that we're just going to leave those taxes over there with Obamacare and reform the rest of the IRS tax code. But it does make tax reform harder. It's all about the revenue baseline. It has nothing to do with the spending baseline. Chad.
Explain this idea of not wanting the president to work with
Oh, yeah, sure.
On the healthcare here, but also when, some of us just talked to Chris Collins, big Trump ally, and he says, the next time that the Freedom Caucus calls the Tuesday group, we should hang up the phone. He says we're not going to hit healthcare again until 2019. You say we're close. Why should anyone believe that?
Well, because about 90% of our conference is there, and about 10% are not.
90% doesn't get you there if you do.
That's exactly right. But what 95 does. So that's why I say we're close, because we are. Here's the point I'm making here. The Democrats aren't for repealing Obamacare. We are. We work with Democrats all the time. I mean, look, Patty Murray and I did a big budget agreement. I mean, so we have long histories of working with Democrats. But I don't think it's a stretch of the mind to suggest that the Democrats disagree with us on repealing Obamacare. They're not going to help us repeal Obamacare. That's my point. And so if we're going to do what we said we would do, which is repeal and replace Obamacare and save the American healthcare system, something tells me the Democrats aren't going to help us repeal Obamacare. They're the ones who created it in the first place. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, on fiscal 17, will you send an 11 bill omnibus to the House? Will it fund the wall, and will it contain?
The bill hasn't been completed yet. The appropriators are still negotiating, so it's premature to get into the contents of the bill. We've already done DOD, so there's 11 other bills that we would pass. The question is it one bill, two bills? I think that's one for the Senate to decide how they're going to package the bill. It's really about kind of their calendar and how they work. But our goal is to work on the rest of the bills, and that's what our appropriators are negotiating. Those negotiations aren't done, so it'd be premature to get into the contents of those bills.
Do you think that you're going to send them a spending wrap-up? Is that?
Yeah, I think that's right. We've already sent them DOD, and I anticipate we'll send them the rest.
How should House Republicans approach their lawsuit on the Affordable Care Act, given that the law remains in place? Would taking those cost-sharing reductions would destabilize the market?
Well, yes, and you all right over there? Okay, Dan, that didn't sound too good. Is you okay? Yes, I think the answer is yes on your last part, but the lawsuit's going to take some time. This is a separation of powers issue, and I don't know when the lawsuit's going to get wrapped up. This I think it goes into May. If we end up going to court, that could take us months. So it's just currently an unresolved issue. While the lawsuit is being litigated, then the administration funds these benefits. That's how they've been doing it, and I don't see any change in that. Yeah.
To follow up on that, you just said that this $7 billion that this would destabilize the market if this lawsuit is successful. So why not drop the lawsuit, or why not work?
Well, we don't want to drop the lawsuit because we believe in the separation of powers. We believe in Congress retaining its lawmaking power. But this lawsuit hasn't run its full course. While this lawsuit is running its course, the administration is exercising their discretion with respect to CSRs. Our plan A here is to repeal and replace Obamacare and have that transition occur where these markets are stabilized, and that's what we hope to achieve.
Last
Yeah.
question.
So the health bill seems to be a little bit in limbo, and you're encouraging members to talk to each other. Will you commit that there will be another vote on this bill or a similar bill?
I'm not going to commit to when and what the vote's going to look like, because it's my job to help make sure that House Republicans can coalesce and come together and draw consensus. What I'm encouraging our members to do is figure out what solutions get us to a bill that everybody can vote for and pass. That's the kind of conversations that are occurring. This is too big of an issue to not get right. And so I'm not going to put some kind of artificial deadline on saving the American healthcare system from an oncoming collapse. I just think it's too important. Let's forget about all the Beltway talk here and think about there are families that are hurting. There are families that aren't getting the kind of healthcare they need. Premiums are going up double digits. Plans are pulling out of marketplaces. No one has a choice in a third of American counties. This is a problem. And the actuaries of the insurance companies are telling us it's just going to get worse. So it's really important that we do something to fix this problem. And that's going to take us to continue to work to get consensus. And I'm not going to put a timeline on it because I just want to make sure that we get this done right. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.